What the heck is the difference between climate change and global warming? And when on earth did the terminology change? Let's start with the definitions. The term global warming simply means long-term increase in average temperature at the global scale. Climate change, on the other hand, refers to long-term changes up or down in things like average temperature, as well as other weather variables and patterns at regional to global scales. So, to put it simply, global warming is just one component of the climate change that we've been experiencing. Now let's talk about the timeline of when these terms have been used. It's a bit ironic because the picture that's sort of been painted is that we changed our terminology from global warming to climate change. But actually, the term climate change can be traced all the way back to at least the 1850s. And it's been used since then, such as in a 1956 report talking about the effects of carbon dioxide on climate, or in the 1988 creation of one of the most important organizations on climate change, the IPCC. Now, if we look at global warming, that was first used back in 1975 by a scientist named Wallace Broecker in a paper that he published talking about the effects of dust and CO2 on climate. This term was then picked up by other prominent studies during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, such as in the 1979 Charney Report. The term global warming then continued to gain traction when it started being presented more regularly in public media as well as in congressional hearings. More recently, we have generally seen a shift back to the term climate change, and that's primarily for two reasons. One was in order to talk about the issue more accurately, and the other is because certain politicians were advised to make the switch to challenge the science and to reduce the public's interest in this issue by just simply using a less frightening term. And just to end on a bit of food for thought, in my opinion, this pushes us to ask ourselves a really important question. What does language, or the specific terminology that we use to describe things, not only say, but imply? Because any media released by any company, organization, or government is very intentional. Now, as we'll talk about more later, using these two terms interchangeably has caused a fair amount of public-facing confusion and doubt about whether scientists even know what they're talking about, which has then not only caused a lot of tension, but slowed down us actually acting on important climate solutions. As always, please leave us any questions and comments you have about climate change. We're O-Shift Climate Talks, here to help you figure this shift out together.